Hello, welcome to Warblog. This is another installment in the epic saga of the development of the Insurgents. I have burnt a candle at both ends and the middle to bring about this little small step towards introducing Insurgents. It's not exactly what I want 100% how I want it to be in the end. It's not that I can't do these things, just one step at a time, but there's a few little fiddly twiddly things that I know are wrong. It's not. I'll go through it. But basically, they're up and running to some extent. I mean, I've only done the first part, so the irregulars, still nothing done there, which is ironic. So I've got some irregulars on this game, so I'll play it. I've just been error trapping, and I imagine as soon as I show you how to play it, there will be more errors. But anyway, so on the first turn they can't use their insurgent skills. That's just because of a little foible in the way the game system is set up. I could change that, but I haven't done it. So I made this and then discovered that there's yet another little twiddly thing that needs sorting out. Anyway, so there's an insurgent unit. I won't move it too near the enemy, but I will demonstrate that in the first turn they can't attack. And they're out of movement. I won't attack them. If they were to attack them, they would get 1-to-1 odds, but insurgents will have 0-0-5 from now on, so end their turn. And all these units doing it, but might as well move them. There you go. End the Syrian turn. Now, the rebels have got their insurgent units. Now, they go to what we call the insurgent screen. Of course, it doesn't say anything like that because that would be helpful. I'm not one for superfluous annotations. Anyway, the difference here is that you select which unit you're going to attack. So before you select which units are attacking. Same sort of screen, I use the same page. It's got tons of stupid code that's no use. But you would select that unit, and this here you're selecting which unit you want to attack. So in this instance there's only one, so I want to attack it. And just for a point of reference at the moment, if you just attack, it comes up with a syntax error. There you go. Doesn't like that. But we're not stupid. Of course we're going to press the button. And in this instance, I got an assault roll of 91, and my insurgent action succeeded. That resulted in three depressions on this unit. So let me pause there and just go through the numbers. Essentially, the numbers are pretty straightforward. You have to get over 50 in order to succeed. For every unit of defense, you lose 5 from your die roll. So I probably actually am pointing to the mouse here. I can't point my finger. There's the mouse. So he probably rolled 96, which is even better. But because he had 1 times 5, so if you've got a 10 strength unit, you will always be minus 50. You will not be able to attack something with more than 10 defense points. I did do it at 5 at first, but I thought it was a bit limiting. So anyway, it's just numbers, the numbers that I've got available. I'm not trying to get it so that it's truly reflective or anything. Just numbers. So anyway, it succeeded. Now, if he got less than 91, he would have failed. And if he failed, he would have rolled again automatically. And there is then a percentage chance which is, I can't remember now. I'm just going to hazard a guess because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It will actually tell you in a bit, so we'll maybe come back to it. Can't do another assault immediately, which I'll explain in a bit. But basically, it's 1 minus a 100. So it's you have if you fail, you do a die roll, a failure die roll, percentage of your chance of being captured versus the capture score, which in this instance is 100 minus the defense, which is what 99. You got to roll above 99 to be caught. Now, if you're going up against someone that's got 10 strength points, because you can just about possibly do it, you have to roll over 90. So the chances of getting caught are quite slim. I don't want to make these units sort of easy to lose, but you can always lose them. And they don't get captured, they get eliminated. So anyway, so in this instance, the insurgent action was successful. So we go back to the game. Now he's not lost any movement doing that. The reason being, and he's got a slightly higher movement than normal, is because you want to get them away. You don't want them being attacked because they will die. They're supposed to come out, do their action, run away, so they don't lose their movement. They retrieve all their movement. But what you'll notice is that if you look at the little stat things now, and this is where it's a bit sort of awkward because there's no better way to really show this, but he's now got used 3. Now I'll probably think of a better term, but just for development purposes, he's now no longer available. He's got used 3, which means he cannot go in there now again and attack. He's done his attack, and that used 3 basically means for 3 turns, although to be quite honest, I think my system is a bit, not so much skew weird, but it will refresh every turn, so it's only really 1.5 turns, because when I do the Syrian turn it will go up 1, so it goes up in steps from use 3 to use 2 to use 1, and then it will go to available. When it's available, you can start using it for insurgent actions. Just as a side note here, what I was trying to do to some extent, it's nothing to do with what I've been talking about, but I was sort of thinking, oh god, these are pretty powerful units because you get a guaranteed fatigue 3. If you've got 2 of them, or even 3 of them, you could just go in, choose your one target, and hopefully get up to 9 fatigue points on a unit. And I don't think that they should be used like that. I think going for the same target 3 times would be would have a penalty, and it starts to get complicated in the sense that I can't really sort of start putting in conditions and statements, and so I'll see how it works out. But basically, you can't use the insurgent skills every turn. You can't at the moment use them on the village objective there. That's because I just haven't got that far with that yet. So we'll do the end. We'll end that turn. So now it's the Syrian turn, and this is almost me playtesting here as well. So, well, that's obviously wrong because now it's saying available. Well, you get the point. I'll have to deal with that. Let me deal with it now, maybe. Well, I did something, no idea whether it'll do anything. Let's move these Syrian units because we can at least maybe test something out. So I'll end that turn. Interesting. So in theory we're available, so we should be able to go in there, do an attack. I'll maybe change the height of that. Do the attack. In your own time. Okay, so again, nice high result, which would have been another 96. So now this unit's been hit twice. There's depression 5 because last time it recovered. I'm at used 3. Let's see what happens when I do refresh the turn. I knew that would happen. Okay, let me just see if I can sort. I'm pretty sure I figured it out now. For the technically competent or computer literate, I think if you have a cascading if that says if used 3, turn it to used 2, and then you say if used 2, turn it to used 1, and then you say if used 1, turn it to available. Of course it's going to go from used 3 to available, so I put in the magic else, so if else, etc, etc. So now let's go back, so we should be available, move in there, do an insurgent attack. Okay, so in this instance I've got an assault roll of 12.5. Interesting, because it's calculating the defense based on its current fatigue. I rolled 38. 38 was the capture roll, so I rolled a 38, and I had to roll over 99.9, 99.1. So you can see the chances of getting caught are not that great, but I've done it only because I mixed the things up. So anyway, so we're now at use 3, so we end the turn. We're at use 2. That means I'm going to have to go up to 6, and that'll double it down. That's just the easiest way to do it. I'm a bit vague on how the game works, to be honest. So, totally like that. So anyway, we're now at use 1, which means can't attack. I will up that so that I just don't want them sitting there like artillery, firing every turn. They're a special unit that should be used sort of accordingly. So that's pretty much the insurgents, sort of briefly. Just to reiterate, I mean, they're now active. Let's just do this. So now we should be available. Yep. Syrian turn. This is something I haven't tested yet. Go back to the ISIS turn now, and this is interesting. I'll have to make sure that we can't select both of them. So you select one or the other, so they have to be radio buttons. So now that one's a depression 3, this one's depression 0. I will attack this one. Assault roller 2, which is a fail. Capture 75 capture roll 99. So perhaps it should be the total of units in there as well. Anyway, so the point here is that we've got a semi-working insurgent system in place that will be developed. It could take a long time, to be quite honest. I'm stuffed. I only really pushed to get this through because I haven't done anything like this for a long time, and there's a reason for that. It just takes up so much time. But anyway, so that's that. So I hope you found that interesting. Cheerio. This is a continuation of the insurgent development. Essentially, I sort of sorted out a few of the other things, so I'm just going to run through it. Might find some other things, but this little guy has got use 6, so in order to get him available again, used 5, used 4, the fact that he's recovering on every turn, not on his only turn, is significant, because there's another issue regarding the fatigue recovery that is also doing that, and there's a couple of problems there, but on top of it in the sense that they know what's what. It's just, I've got to do it. Anyway, back to this. So he's on 3. So basically they're not available for their insurgent type of, they're busy making bombs or plotting kidnaps or whatever it is they do. Okay, so he should now be available. So when we put him into here, we can see that there is automatically one of the radio buttons populated. He should be at 3, he should be at 1 now. I hit him last time, so I'm going to hit him again. I've moved the attack button. I can maybe make that a little snazzier, but it's now in the same screen. The magic button. Oh, that's convenient. I've also removed the radio buttons now, so that you can't just go and do it again. I mean, in theory you could press that, but I'll maybe get rid of that as well. So that's pretty much that sequence of play. Now he's still got his movement, but he's used. Depression 4, depression 3. So that's right. And now he can run away. He's only got 1.4 movement left out of 5. That would mean that the movement cost in total 3.6, which would mean each movement was 1.5, 1.6, 1.75, which means you can't move. So that's that. I won't bother with the, well, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this state play for the first level. There's still a few other things that need to be done, like putting the option for doing the village. But for the time being, I think I'm just going to settle with that and see how that runs. Mainly because I want to actually start maybe, well, I'm not got any time, but also I want to sort of see how that fits into the game, because I don't want insurgent units to be overwhelming. The problem with the insurgent units is that they're not necessarily intuitive. So we've got a unit element on the map now that some people might not know how to use. I'm prepared to go for that because I think, they will be central to some scenarios. I mean, I'm thinking mainly on the Somalia one. The one I'm doing at the moment, which is still pending, is, and ironically, it shouldn't actually be that difficult to do. Just plonk a bunch of units on, no complex order of battle, and it was sort of semi-military. So anyway, but the modern Somalia, the one that's going on at the moment, that I did another video on, That is basically just insurgent activity. They're just bombing things. So I want to wait until I've sort of maybe done one that really is just insurgents with maybe a couple of irregular units. And to some extent it's interesting because it sort of maybe plans the path for the development of a rebel force. So you would start off with insurgents, and then you would develop a group of irregulars who are fairly weak but able to do military surprise ambushes and things like that. They work as a military unit, but obviously not capable of withstanding a massive military unit, and then basically developing into a regular company, and then maybe a motorized company, and then rocket batteries. They make those themselves, and then basically growing from there to whatever they can get. But I mean that's so. So basically, I'm going to run a few scenarios when I see the opportunity to create an insurgent focused scenario, and then just see how interesting or relevant these mechanics are. As I don't want to create something that sort of models insurgent activity. I want to manipulate the rule system as I've got and the programming skill sets that I've got in order to introduce an element of insurgent units. And I think that's sort of a reasonable enough way of doing that. I think the key thing to bear in mind is because they cause 3 fatigue, they permanently damage units. So in theory, you could have one little unit and they could go around and completely wipe out every military unit on the board. Now, it's not necessarily the case, because if there was only one unit, the enemy, the people that are attacking would go out and fight them. Now the evade thing is not in place at the moment, I don't think. So this is what I've got to do sort of next. So it's worth thinking. I'd have forgotten about that. So they will be able to evade, but I haven't done that yet. But they're in play now just on this game as an incidental. So I won't keep this video going any longer because I just wanted to show how the radio buttons worked, etc. I'll try and add this to the other one and get one view ever. Okay, cheers.